Hi there, it's Verity here and welcome to my channel Pretty Little Button. Today I have a set of cards and matching tags using the Altenew From Our Home stamp set and coordinating die. I used a variety of different Distress Oxides to create some really lovely ink blended night skies and also day skies for the background of these cards and tags. So I'm using some Nina Solar White £80 cardstock, and I've used three Distress Oxides for this first card. So I've got Tumbled Glass as the lightest blue, then Salty Ocean and Chip Sapphire. And I'm using a blending tool and a circular motion just to apply the Tumbled Glass. I'm applying this about halfway up the card because I'm going to vary the height of where the horizon for the scene is, and there's no point colouring the whole card if you're not going to see it's behind part of the panel. So as you can see, I've just used Tumbled Glass to begin with, and now I'm going over the Salty Ocean. And then I go back and use the Tumbled Glass just to smooth and blend the two colours together to get a much more blended look to the sky. And then I'm just finishing it off with some Chipped Sapphire just to darken up the sky just a little bit, just to make it like it's becoming quite a sort of noon, afternoon, evening kind of time, just a little bit of darkness. So again, just going back over them and smoothing them out until I've got a really nice lovely blend with the blues. So for the second card, I've used more of some pinks and purples just to really give it a nice dramatic night sky. So I started off with Seedless Preserves, a lovely berry kind of pink, but a nice kind of pink. I love this colour. And again, just using a lovely circular soft light hand motion. And then I added Dusty Concord, which is like a sort of a dirty-ish purple, which blends really well with the Seedless Preserves. And then I used Salty Ocean on top of that and some Chipped Sapphire. And you can see I'm having to go back over the colours quite a few times just to really get a nice blended look from all the colours and really get them to smooth out with one another. Sometimes it just takes a little bit of time and a little bit of patience, but it can really give a lovely effect. Now I made 4 backgrounds for the cards, and I also made 4 backgrounds for the tags. So I'm not going to show you creating every background in the card and then every background in the tag. So the next set of colours I used, I'm showing you on a tag, but I've also used it on a background as well. So I've used Spun Sugar as the light pink colour. So this is giving more like an early morning sunrise, wintry sunrise scene. Then some Tumbled Glass, and I'm finishing off with some Salty Ocean at the top. And these colours really blend together, and I love that little bit of pink at the horizon with the blue. Gives a really nice wintry feel. And the next combination I used was Victorian Velvet, which is a really dusky pink. This is becoming one of my favourite pinks at the moment, along with some Tumbled Glass and Blueprint Sketch. And I feel this is giving you a bit more of a sort of dusk sunset wintry sky with the more of the dusky pink of the Victorian Velvet. But again, these colours blend really well and give a lovely colour. Okay, so just to add a bit more interest and depth to these wintry skies, I'm just pouring a little bit of water out into a dish and using a paintbrush just to splatter some of the water over the top of the Distress Oxides. Distress Oxides are reactivated with water, and if you just allow them to sit just a little bit, which I'm doing when I'm flicking the water over it, and then mop this up with some clear with a clean paper towel, you will get some lighter patches where the ink's been reactivated and you've lifted it. So I'm just repeating that just to get a bit more splatters and patches onto the sky, just to give it a bit of like a snowy scene. Now, to create some more depth and interest with that, I'm also mixing a bit of white acrylic paint with some water, and this will give more opaque white splatters to the background. So I will create some depth with paler splatters that are further at the snow that's further in the distance, with some more opaque white bright splatters which are more of the snow in the foreground. So to create the card panels with the stamp and die cut effect, you need to do some partial die cutting. So I'm just positioning the house die and tree on my card panel in a line where the horizon of the sky is, and then I'm just tearing this down with some washi tape, and I'm positioning it between my die cutting plates so that only part of the top die cutting plate is positioned over the stamp and die. So anything to the left will die cut and anything to the right won't. Then when I've got it out, you'll still have the die cut connected to your card, and you just need to take a ruler and X-Acto knife and just cut down along those lines where those die cuts intersect, and then just move this out of the way. Now to stamp the house, I'm just using some walnut stain Distress Oxide, and I'm just inking up my roof, positioning it over the house die cut on the panel and just stamping away. Now I'm just double stamping because I wanted a really nice crisp look, and this was the first time I was using the stamp, so it wasn't quite seasoned, but it's really easy to line up the stamp again to double stamp. You don't necessarily need a stamping positioner to do this, so it is really good. So for the wall on the front, I'm using pumice stone, which is a lovely light sort of grey, tone grey, and that will provide the front panel to the house. And then for the side panel, because it's creating some shadow and depth, so the light's not on this part of the house, I'm using like a dark grey. So this is Hero Art's Clear Kelly Grey, and again I'm double stamping that because it's not seasoned very well, so it's just easy to line back up and re-stamp over, and you don't really notice it, but it gives a really nice smooth even coverage. For the door, I'm using Ruby Red Altenew ink, and that was just so easy to just stamp. You haven't got a problem with that. And for the trees, you get a little tree stamp. I'm using a couple of colours, so I'm using Bundle Sage Distress Oxide and Lucky Clover, and I'm just mixing between the two, and sometimes I'm not cleaning my stamp off in between stamping from one colour to the other, just to get a bit of a mix in between. And I'm just stamping this in a variety of different places. So I'm foam mounting this little die cut panel onto the card just to give it a bit more dimension, and as you can see, when you lay it over that winter sky, it really creates a lovely scene and it just looks lovely. I think that really gives you that's the Victorian velvet, so it's a really lovely dusky wintry night sky. So I'm just stamping the sentiment that comes with the From Our Home stamp set in VersaFine Black Onyx ink. As you can see, when I stamped it, I didn't stamp it very well, and then I tried to double stamp it, and again it didn't really get a good impression, so I really should have used my stamping platform for this, so I wouldn't have made that mistake. So to cover it up, all I'm doing is stamping the sentiment again on a strip of white card, and this time I get a good impression, and what I do is I trim it down so that I can foam mount it over the mistake I made basically on the card panel, and that covers up my mistake, and nobody would really know that I've done that, and it just gives it a bit more dimension again with the sentiment being a bit foam mounted. To ensure I get it straight, because I don't want to make any more mistakes, I just use my T ruler to align that up so it was nice and straight on the card front. This whole card panel was just adhered to a card base, same size. I didn't trim it down and have a white border. I loved the look of the scene as it was. So I'm just adhering it to the card base. This is a Nina Sailor White £110 card base. So just showing you how I created the partial die cut with the tag. So again, positioning the die cut over the tag where I want it, and only half of the die is underneath the top die cutting plate. So the part of the die that's under the top cutting plate will cut, and any of the die outside of that top die cutting plate will not cut. So again, just to actually make the top part of the tag removable from, so you can see the partial die cut, you just need to take a ruler and a cutting knife and just cut away those parts of the tag, just so you create that horizon, and you can move the top of the tag out the way and discard it. So again, just stamped the stamp again. I won't show that in too much detail. And then I just stamped the sentiment onto the tag, and this sentiment fits quite well on this size tag, and luckily for me I didn't need to re-stamp it because it was much more easier on a smooth surface. So I just adhered this to one of the tags, and I think I used the really lovely purples and pinks sky for this, and I'm just adding some black twine to the top of the tag just to finish it off, which really ties in with the black door I used here and the black stamping of the sentiment. So as you can see, I've used a variety of different Distress Oxides to create some really dramatic wintry scenes, and using a variety of just clear water and opaque bright white paint, you can create a lovely depth and dimension. This little stamp set is beautiful and I love it from Altenew. You will find a list of stamps and dies used to make these cards and tags in the video description below, along with a link to my blog and Bumbleberry's Paper Crafts, where you can pick up the supplies if you live in the UK. They supply a variety of different American brands and provide top quality service. So if you really enjoyed today's video, I'd love it if you subscribe to my channel, and if you could hit the notification bell to be notified when my next video comes up. If you enjoyed this video, I'd really love you to check out this video where I used a variety of sentiments along with one stamp set to show its versatility. Till next time, happy crafting!